Paul, welcome back. Right here in front. How are you, brother? Good to see you again. So you're back. It's fight week. You're at the Apex. You're in the, co-main event of the night. That's got to feel pretty good. I mean, I guess what's your excitement level? Is it just another day in the office, or, how are you feeling right now coming into this fight week?
I'm feeling good. There's a few little moments that's happening. Like it's my 20th fight for the UFC, so that's like a big milestone for me. Not only that, I'm moving back up to light heavyweight. I've been away for a couple of months, maybe a year or two plus. So that's also given me a wee bit of excitement to see what I can come back in here and do as a light heavyweight. And like when you've got someone like Ankalaev at the title and there's only one loss in his record, I'm excited to see what I can do, like with a few fights in the next few months.
You mentioned those milestones. When you started your career and you made it to the UFC, did you? I'm sure you thought you were going to have a great run, but when you still hit those milestones, are they still extra special? Did you ever think that you would really have this many fights in the UFC?
I'm going to be honest. When I was talking to Fight Law and they were asking me about my first fight, and I'd said to them, like, when I got to the UFC, I had no aspirations of being a UFC fighter. I was still teaching at high schools, so I never seen this as a career. I seen this as like a kind of stop-off for me in between teaching. Like, I'm still a teacher. I never seen myself as a fighter. And then when I was able to stop being a full-time teacher and becoming a full-time fighter, that was like a massive milestone for me, because there was a lot of, to stop having a regular income check every single month to rely on making money through fighting. It's a scary opportunity, but it was a huge milestone for me. And then I thought, right, one contract, 4 fights, that's more than enough for my UFC career. And then I get that victory over Ankalaev and they offer me another contract. I'm like, right, 8 fights, we can do 8 fights. And then it just kept happening. And then when the real milestones for me started happening was things like the tops cards. When they came in play and I seen myself on a card as a kid, growing up, collecting them myself, collecting soccer cards, and now people are collecting Paul Craig cards, and it still blows my mind that people actually want these cards. Like, it's crazy. And then another huge milestone was being part of the UFC computer game. Same again, it's ticking these boxes as a kid. If I could go back and tell my younger self, say, Paul, listen, wait till I tell you, see when you become an adult, you're going to be in a computer game. And these kind of things are blowing my mind. And to make it 20 fights in the UFC, had a few ups and downs, but had some oh my God moments in the sport. And I do believe there's a few oh my God moments left for me in this sport. So I'm looking forward to seeing what I can do moving back up to light heavyweight.
Refresh my memory, because I know you told us in the past. What were you teaching? What was the subject?
So I was dealing with kids. So it would be like a social subject. So dealing with them, learning them basic soft core skills. Loved it. It was, every day was amazing. I got to do so many good experiences through that job. Got to go to Africa and take a group of kids from Scotland. Took 4 kids away to Africa to do some missionary work. Got to meet Prince William through this job. It was like one of the greatest moments in my life up until I became a fighter. And I've always kind of, for some reason, I've always had this exciting life where things have just came to me and presented themselves, like becoming a teacher, like having kids, like being a fighter. So I'm excited to see what the next chapter of my life is going to be.
I was going to say, I don't want to end this UFC chapter just yet, but is that something after you're done fighting that you hope to revisit, doing some social work or working with kids or doing teaching or something along those lines?
No, I think life's about moving forward, and I think sometimes if you go back and try and do the same thing, when I've not been in teaching for where we're talking maybe like 10 years now, or 8 years maybe, 8-9 years. So it's a long time being away from it. So for me, it's all about what's going to happen next, what's my next step, because I don't believe it's going back to teaching. It may be something involved dealing with young adults, dealing with young kids, but right now, it's about being a fighter. It's about showing what I've got left in this tank, and I do believe there's just a little bit left, a little bit of that special Paul Craig magic left for me to showcase it.
We're jumping over to the fight career where you're also, it's good to see you back, but we're seeing you in a position that we've never seen you before with 3 losses coming in here. what sort of pressure does that put on you? And I mean, what do? You know, obviously, you know, the light heavyweight move and coming back to that, but how do you address the three issues, and what does that do to you going into a fight week? Are you just focused on the fight ahead, or what does that do to you, knowing that you're coming in a place you've never been before?
Yeah, that move to middleweight at the time was a great idea, and after that victory against Andre Munoz in London was incredible. I didn't really get a chance to get running as a middleweight, but that's because I had three high-level opponents in front of me. I had Kyle Barallo, Brendan Allen, and Bo Nickel. So they're no slouches in this game, and to lose to them, it's not an embarrassment. But it's difficult to pick yourself up for 3 losses because this sport is about entertaining, and if you're not entertaining, you're not winning, then the UFC have no right to keep you. And I know that myself. I'm not under any illusion that a loss come Saturday night would potentially result in me not having a UFC contract on the Monday morning. So that for me is fire, and that's what I think I need. I do my best work when my back's against the wall and everybody's written me off. So that's why this fight is ideal for me. Moved back up to light heavyweight, don't have to cut all that extra muscle mass, and it's game day for me.
But they're also throwing a guy at you, Rodolfo Bellato, as a striker. You know, everybody knows. We know what you like to do. We know that at some point you're going to try to take it to a ground, but this is a guy that's going to want to try to stand and bang. So, I mean, how do you approach this fight, and what are your thoughts on him when you were given that name as an opponent?
Yeah, we've never ever backed down for a fight. So if they've offered us a fight, we've taken it. And they'd offered us someone else just before this fight, and we accepted it. And then a few days later, they offered us this fight, and the same again. We accepted it because we're warriors. We don't back down. For Rodolfo Bellato, great striking. It works very well for mixed martial arts. He moves forward in nice straight lines, throws nice straight shots, throws that nice calf kick, and we've seen him working with Pereira on that, and I do believe that's going to be what he's going to try and do in this fight on Saturday night. Watching his fight against Jimmy Crute, I seen there was areas where I could impose my game plan. That's a great opportunity if it happens that way, but this is a fight game and some things have to change. So for me to be, I'm only looking for jiu-jitsu, that would be silly of me. What I need to do is I need to use good footwork, I need to use straight shots, and I need to use my striking to set up these wrestling exchanges so that I can then take him to the mat, wear him out and get that victory. Because first and foremost, the victory is important, not about how good I look or how crisp my striking is. It can be ugly. My striking can be as ugly as you need it. I just need to get the victory.
Good luck on Saturday.
Paul, now that you're moving back up to light heavyweight, just how brutal was that weight cut? And I know you talked about like an eating disorder that you got. Like, just how difficult was that cut to middleweight?
Yeah, definitely. When you think about calorific input to output, I was under 2,000 calories for 10 weeks in a fight camp for a man who's 6'4" and was walking around at 100 kg. It's horrible. But when you give yourself a goal, and the goal was to become a middleweight champion, that's what I decided to do. And I had the focus to do it, and I'd done it for all these kind of fights. But what happened negative was mentally, I ended up with an eating disorder. And one of the best things that I'd done was actually told people about it. Because for a long time I was embarrassed with it. Like, coming into my third fight, I was like, I think my second fight, I hadn't told anybody about it, and I'm like, this is not healthy. And I think by putting it out there, and I do believe there's other fighters out there who are going through this, and it's difficult to deal with on your own. So put it out there, get the support, get the help. And one of the things was having a healthier relationship with food, and the only way to do that is by not doing the restriction, by not doing the long cardio to burn more calories so that I could eat more. It was to have a healthy relationship with it, and being a light heavyweight has helped out.
Once you came to the conclusion that you did have an eating disorder, did that kind of flip your mind to like, I have to go back up to light heavyweight?
If their last 3 fights had went the way that I'd wanted them to go and received victories as a middleweight, I would have stayed there. The things that fighters will do to their body is incredible. So when I look at what was happening to my body as a middleweight, I had low testosterone, I had no white blood cells, I kept getting infections because I had nothing to fight it off. I had like really low body fat percentage, but the goal was to be that champion or get in that top 10 and be in that mix. and I would have done anything to do it. And it's the same as a light heavyweight. I would do anything to be a champion. I'd do anything to be a top 15, top 10, top 5 opponent.
Do you have any regret going down to middleweight?
I don't. Life's about looking forward, and if you constantly look back, then you're going to miss what's in front of you. And I think worrying about the shoulda, woulda, couldas is like the first sign of a loser. I should have done this. I would have done this. What are you going to do next? Let's improve on that. And that's where I kind of live my life.
I just wanted to know, like, as you were going down to middleweight, Jamal Hill wins the title. You have a win over him. Magomed just won it. So, like, was it kind of weird seeing that, like, I left the division and these two guys that I beat are now champions?
Yep, it was, because after I made that decision, and we knew Ankalaev was going to be the champion, just through his body of work up to that point was incredible, and they were kind of holding him back for being that champion because they know how dangerous he is. But that's a good thing for me, making this move back up to light heavyweight, because there's some unfinished business there. And as I said, it's almost like a queue skip. Like, you know, you get that band at Disneyland where you're like, hey, you're walking past the top 15, like, oh, queue skip, I've got the victory over him. And that's what I'm kind of looking for. But first and foremost, I need to get through Bellato. And as we've spoke about, he's not a slouch. He's an experienced light heavyweight, but not as experienced as me, and I think that's where this could be an exciting fight.
Did you happen to catch Bo Nickal's last fight?
I did, and I feel really bad for Bo Nickel, and this sport is very fickle. Bo Nickel is one of the best wrestlers in the country. Like, the credentials that he has as a wrestler is impressive. And I do believe, like, he's 29 years old, so he's a young guy, he's still got a lot of potential to show, and I do believe he'll come back for this. But going up against a guy like the Ridder, he's a great jiu-jitsu guy. Like, watching him as a fan, I was excited for this fight. But there's a lot of pressure on Bo Nickel, and there always has been. But watching that fight back, it was that loser mentality that came out in me. I should have done that to him as well, and I could have done that to him, but you didn't, Paul, and you're going to have to suffer that the rest of your life. I can't leave things in the past. I need to do something to stop this from happening. So come Saturday night, when I watch this fight back, it's not going to be I should have done this, I could have done this. It's going to be I did that right.
I know you said this like several times in this interview that you don't like to look back, but looking at that Bo Nickel fight, what was the game plan going into that fight?
We thought that our striking would have been much more of a deterrent for him to shoot in on us. That's what I wanted. I wanted him to shoot in on me and make my job much easier. I didn't expect, not that I didn't expect to out-wrestle him, but I guess I need to be realistic. In Scotland, we don't have any wrestling. Like, it's not like we've got wrestling pedigree guys there. Like, did you see that Scottish wrestler in the Olympics? No, because there's like very few guys make it from Scotland into the Olympics. So we didn't expect to be able to take him down. So what we thought was our ability to push him back would allow him to strike for us. That fight is still one of my favourite fights. Being able to take these shots that he was throwing, hearing that crowd booing him, and just walking out in Madison Square Garden. Like, this sport is about moments, and this sport for me is about my legacy, and that was like a legacy fight, even though I'd lost it.
So, and then finally for me, what's it going to take to get the UFC to go back to Scotland?
I just find it's too hard for the UFC to come back to Scotland. The arenas aren't big enough. The fans are there. When you think about any UK show or even European show, the Scottish fans will travel the world for the UFC. I would love them to be back in the show. I'd love to headline that, but unfortunately, it's a financial business, and it's not financially viable for the UFC. But could you imagine me walking out in Scotland for like my 25th fight or my 30th fight? It'd be amazing. It'd be like dreams come true.
Good luck this weekend.
Thank you so much.
Just one quick one for me. You talk about Scottish wrestlers, and there's not many of them. There is a pretty good one in the WWE, Drew McIntyre. I know you spent some time in Insane Championship Wrestling. Is that correct? Now with the WWE and UFC kind of under the TKO umbrella, WrestleMania was just here in Vegas a couple weeks ago. Yep. Have you thought about maybe a post-fighting career, getting into the WWE ring? And how much did you enjoy your time performing as a professional wrestler?
Yep. Wrestling as a kid was where I first learned how to fight. That's where my love came from. Watching Bret Hart getting screwed over, watching Stone Cold becoming like the champion, The Rock. I loved everything about it. I loved the pageantry. And so when I started doing the ICW stuff, it was brilliant. It was safe. I wasn't getting hurt. I mean, it's still very dangerous wrestling. And one of the conversations we had was the things we can't do, because first and foremost, I'm a fighter. I can't be going into matches compromised. As WWE, I would love to just walk out and hear the fans. Like, I'm talking like even a Raw or a SmackDown, any of that kind of stuff I would love. But to walk out in WrestleMania in London, I think they're talking about coming to London next year. That'd be like amazing. Like, for any kid, fighting in the UFC is cool, but fighting for the WWE is cooler. And Drew McIntyre I was blown away with how big he was. Because I know he's big, and you're thinking, right, camera adds a couple of pounds, but standing in front of him and his hands, it was like holding a plate. He's so big. And there is some really good Scottish wrestlers in performance wrestling that are coming through, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do as well.
Thanks. Good luck.
All good? Cool. Beautiful, guys. Have a nice day.